Hello and welcome and Happy New Year. I didn't do a Manifesting Friday live today, mainly because I was up late last night and I kind of slept in, and I just wanted to come to you via videotape today because it would be much easier for me. You know, this is January 1st, 2021, and, you know, everybody in the world that are motivational people or people who are coaches or people who are pastors, and everybody is making this huge thing about 2021. And it's a new day, and it's a new year, and it's a new start. I'm not that person. It's Friday, the 1st of January. The year changed. It's 2021. But it's just another day. It's another day in your life. It's another day where you can start new if you messed up yesterday. So it's not about, oh, it's a brand new year, you got a whole new chance. No, it's a brand new year, and tax-wise and business-wise, I got some new things to do. But as far as my life is concerned, I'll make changes each and every day. And that's what I want for you, to see about making changes each and every day. Little tiny changes in your life. Now, many of you have traditions for the first of the year. When I was growing up, New Year's Eve wasn't one for parties and all that kind of thing. When I was coming up, and most times I spent the night with my grandparents, so probably my parents were partying. But with my grandparents, about 1:45 midnight, we were on our knees, and she was praying. I didn't understand it at the time. My grandmother died when I was 12, so I was 7, 8, 9, whatever. But she was praying in a new year. Last night, I wasn't praying in a new year. I was watching a Netflix movie called Bridgerton. Because I realized that I pray all day, every day, with my thoughts. And so do you. And when people tell you thoughts are things, they truly are, because they shape and they mold you. So, Spirit has put on my heart that I'm going to talk about in the next couple weeks about this whole thing called the prosperity ministry, all right, the prosperity gospel versus manifesting. Prosperity gospel versus laws and truths that we have been taught, or that have been taught for millions of years, that also show up in the scriptures. However, you're not told everything, and you are, in my opinion, and it's only my opinion, you are led down a path that relieves your pocketbook. Yeah. I'd like to have you support me, but I want to teach you and train you and show you how, by changing the way you think, your life changes. Now, this is January 1st, 2021. So what are the things that my parents taught me and we're having today? And I did a little video, and I'll turn it on, about some of the food that I cooked for today. But my daughter and I were discussing one of the habits when I was a kid, a teenager, and even in my 20s when I was at my parents' house for New Year's Eve. that they did in the neighborhood. And I would like you to put in the comments whenever you see this, whenever you come across this video, put in a comment, what are some of the traditions that you were taught as you were growing up? One of them was that my dad would leave the house after midnight. And he would go visit the neighbors' houses, and he'd go walk in, talk to them for a few minutes, and leave. Mr. Minner up the street, my third cousin, fourth removed or whatever, but cousin of the family, he would come to our house and walk in the door after midnight. So the tradition was that a man had to come into the house. The first person in your house after midnight had to be a man, not a female. And so my daughter and I were discussing that, and I said, they never actually told me, but it was for prosperity, you know, for prosperity's sake. And it was, we talked about, it represented the breadwinner, right? The man was the breadwinner back then. You know, this was the 50s and the 60s. And so the man was the breadwinner. So so it signified you had a man in your house and you had money coming in your house and that. Well, as I got older, we could do that because women became breadwinners. Ta-da! So I don't know what your traditions are, but share them with me. And then while I'm there, so I'll just go back to that little other video that shows you what I cooked today, or I and my daughter cooked today for New Year's. So another one of those New Year's Day things that we do is sauerkraut. But I make my sauerkraut. This year I use the canned sauerkraut, and I'm not crazy about it. Usually I'll either have my own made or I buy the canned kind in the can jar. So anyway, so I add a sweet apple because my family didn't like the sourness of the sauerkraut, and I have sliced up kielbasa in it. So you have your pork on New Year's Day. So it's pork and sauerkraut, and I add a little water. When the kids were small, I added a little sugar to it because they just didn't like that. And then I will put this in the oven at approximately 350 degrees. And I'm just cooking it to heat it up because the sausage is pre-cooked. The sauerkraut is done. All it needs is heated. And so I just put it in there for 30 to 45 minutes, and it just kind of cooks up really nicely. The other thing that I did last night was I cooked up some rice. So I have some rice here, and some of you go, so what is the rice for? Well, my daughter cooked up black-eyed peas last night. So we've got black-eyed peas, rice for the black-eyed peas, and I've got my sauerkraut, my pork sausage or kielbasa, and the sauerkraut with a little apple in it. And I also cooked up, and this is just for me, so here in this pot. Okay, let's turn it over to this pot, and I have some mustard greens with ham. So that is what our, let's see, do this a little bit, no, wrong direction. So that is what our basic New Year's Day meal is going to be. It's a tradition. I still don't know. I know a lot of Germans. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, so there was a lot of Germans and people from Poland, and they do the sauerkraut thing, and I guess my parents picked that up. Now, I do the sausage, but another friend of mine does pork roast. I was going to roast pork chop and change my mind, but just as long as it's pork. welcome you to 2021. If you are of the mindset that this is a brand new year, then I welcome that for you. You know, this is the time people write affirmations on what they're going to do, and they're going to plan their year. And I tell you to plan your time all the time. So, Happy New Year, and I'll see you in the next video.